there, friends and sane persons, and welcome to another episode of Wednesday Whimsy. My name is Kyle, and Wednesday Whimsy is a short show I do every Wednesday evening where I talk about a board game, a top 10 list, or some other board game related topic that happens to be on my mind at that time. Well, I've been on the road a lot lately. I talked about my Dice Tower retreat trip, but that was sort of bookended by a trip to Arizona and a trip to Tennessee. So, I've just been away from home quite a bit lately. And I often travel with games. Usually it's a small solo game. In fact, I've done a couple of travel-related lists in the past. And today I'm going to be talking about a new one that kind of surprised me, kind of came out of nowhere. And that game is Dieson Crusoe. Now, it sounds like it might be about vacuums. You can see that it is a solo game. And it's actually, it's sort of the first one in this series that I've played. It looks like it might be a Korean game as well by that title there, which says Dieson Crusoe. Uh, so I guess I thought I would talk about it, tell you what I think. So here we go. Let's jump on in. So what is this game about? Well, here we go. Dieson Crusoe is, the astute listener will be able to tell, might be able to discern a reference to Robinson Crusoe, sort of a classic old book that is about life of a castaway on an island. And that's, obviously what this one is about. So you play the role of Dieson, and he is all alone on this island. He has no friends at all, except he has made essentially a puppet on a stick, kind of Castaway style, that's his friend, and he can use that friend to help him out a little bit. And ultimately, you're going to be playing through a mission, and that mission could be building certain equipment, it could be raising a rescue flag, it could be, a variety of different things that you're going to be doing, and you're trying to do them in a certain number of rounds, and you either win if you accomplish that in a certain number of rounds, or you lose if you don't do it in time, or if you die, or there are other sort of things that can cause you to lose, but mostly it's either you don't succeed on time or you die. And that's kind of what it is. It's a solo game. It takes, not that long, I would say, maybe 20 minutes to play if from setup to tear down. I guess Board Game Geek says 30 to 60. I've never had it come anywhere close to that. But let's take a look a little bit and see what we can see about the game. Hold on, let me figure out how to share here. All right, share screen. Here we go. So here we have a picture of Dieson Crusoe. And, it's compact, I guess. You've got this little map, and you're going through these different areas. And as you get into certain areas, there's bonuses, and there's also animals that are going to be raiding your camp. On the other board, and this looks like, this might be a slightly different version than the version I have. This must be the original, but this will work for our purposes. Ultimately, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be rolling 3 dice. You're going to put them in order from lowest to highest, and then you're going to move this event marker an amount of spaces around the track equal to the lowest value. So in this case, the lowest value is 3. You'd go 1, 2, 3. Then you're going to take actions. Each turn, I guess it's always your turn because it's a solo game, you're going to select one of these dice, and you're going to move your figure here. You're going to move it a number of spaces equal to the number on the die. You can modify that by doing things like, spending your health, or I believe you can spend wood to sort of move yourself a little farther as well. But wherever you land, you're going to be taking that action. So, for example, I have this 3. I'd go 1, 2, 3. It looks like I'm building fences. If you make it to one of these ones that has a little star on it, let's see if I can zoom in, a little star on it, that's going to use the value of your die to sort of help you figure out your strength. You'll see if the value was a 1, it would be a nothing. If it's a 2 or 3, you've got 1 star. 4 or 5, you've got 2, and 6, you've got 3. So, for example, if I had 3 stars, I'd collect 3 wood, which just means I'd put 3 cubes in this little holding pen down here. And you're going to do that until you've used your dice. And then you're going to enter the nighttime phase. In the nighttime phase, you've got to eat or suffer damage. Then you're going to look at the weather. So each die you use, you're going to put down here. One of them sort of in an event area that doesn't come up very often. One is in weather and one is in raid. And so you're going to resolve the weather, and you're going to look at what the value is, and that's going to tell you what you have to pay from shelter, or pay with your body. And then you also will have the ability to, you're going to look at this raid die, and the raid die, if it's a 5 or a 6, you're normally going to look and see what animal is raiding you, and you're going to pay whatever penalty that gives you. Then you'll take the dice, you'll take these, so I will have assigned these dice to these spots, and then these 3 from the old round are going to come back, and the new ones are going to go down and take their spots. So, for example, if I do something with a 6, and if my third action is with a 6, well, that's going to go into the raid, which makes it more likely that a raid's going to happen. Then I'm going to roll my dice and start again. It's just going to kind of go around. Now, on your turn, I mentioned you have this sort of wheel you're going to move around, but you can also, or instead, use your die to use your companion. You have that friend who's like the head on a stick, a kind of a scarecrow, and he has a bonus. You'll advance him, and you can sort of spend that at any time to cash in and get the bonus. Or you're going to be using these cards. Now, these are the character cards. Here are the animals or natives that will raid your camp. You're ultimately, these look like they're all the prototype, but you're going to have these equipment cards, and the equipment cards are going to have certain requirements. You're going to look at your stars for the requirements, and then you'll be able to play the equipment cards. For example, here is an equipment card we can see. Like if I had 3 equipment and I met this requirement, well, I could spend the food that I needed to be able to access this equipment card, and then I'd have it. It would be some sort of bonus action I could do. So every turn you're going to be choosing between preparing for the future or doing the now, basically. And that's how it's going to go. You're going to keep going. You're going to advance these rounds. Eventually, things are going to get worse and worse, so you're going to want to get done pretty quickly. If you meet the requirements on your card, you win. If you don't meet the requirements on your card, you don't win. And and that is how you play Dieson Crusoe. So let's come back, and I'll tell you what I think about the game. So what makes this game special? Well, first of all, I kind of showed you it's in this VHS box, which makes it very compact and easy to take with you. I mean, this is a size. Eventually they might start coming open, so I might have to put a band around it. But currently, it's staying closed. Everything fits very nicely in this very small package. I'm able to sort of take it with me anywhere. The pieces themselves are very compact. You've got a little deck of cards, but mostly it's just dice and tokens. And then you've got the 2-player mats, which we'll talk about in a moment. And it's, very compact, very travel friendly. Small profile, doesn't take a lot of space on the table. It's just the size of the 2 mats and space for storing the cards. Very travel friendly. Rules wise, it's very easy. Obviously, you're not going to be teaching it to anyone because you're playing it solo, but there's not a whole lot of open questions. It's pretty much, you read the rule book, you'll know how to play it. I didn't love how some of it was laid out, but ultimately I got there. It would be nice if there were a little reminder card maybe for a couple of things, but on the whole, it's very easy to pick up and learn from the rules and play on the go. Thematically, it's very interesting. I mean, there is the Robinson Crusoe game that exists that is obviously going to be a bigger, deeper game, but it's also bigger. It's got an ultra-complicated rules set that no human being can remember and takes up a lot of time and space. Even though you can play that one solo, it's going to be a lot of work. This one is the same sort of thematic experience, but also in a short, compact, easy to play solo adventure. So it's it's a nice theme. The theme doesn't feel pasted on. You really are kind of trying to survive alone on the item or on the island. There's not really any story, but you can kind of pick up the story from the context. It's not like you need a detailed background. So it's a very approachable theme, but it's interesting, and the mechanisms work well to kind of bring that theme home to you. So really a lot to love here. A great solo game. It's one of the best solo games that I've been introduced to this year, so that's also high praise. I play a lot of solo games, but this one really feels like it's been designed as a solo game from the ground up. There's really no other way to play it, and I can respect a game that says, hey, look, I'm for one person, and that person, well, usually me. So where's the but? Honestly, just two. One is, I mentioned these boards. I don't like them. They're kind of a microfiber towel, like you might use to, excuse me, to clean your glasses, or a computer screen. It kind of creases, and if you bump it, it's gonna fold up a little bit weird. I wish it were neoprene or cardboard. I mean, a little cardboard mat like you normally see in a board game. That might be a little bit nicer. I mean, it's good quality, but it's gonna wrinkle, and it's not the most convenient material to play on. Just because you're gonna bump it, and it's not a material that's really designed for to be used in board games, and I don't love that. Can I live with it? Obviously, but it could be a little bit cleaner. Also, the rules, I mentioned that they're easy. I just don't love the way that they're laid out. It's kind of like a chore to find things. It was easy to learn the game from the rules. I just wish the layout were a little more user-friendly, or there were some sort of reminder cards that helped you with some of the symbols, just to kind of keep things on your mind once you've gone through the rule book. But other than that, it's pretty great. So what's my final rating? I'm going to give this one an 8 out of 10. Now, I almost would give it a 9. As a solo game, it's probably a 9, but just in general, as a game itself, it's an 8 out of 10. It's one I love playing. It is, obviously, it's taken down a little bit by the fact that I won't be able to play it with anybody. So, I'm only ever going to play it alone. But that does mean, of course, that I'm going to be able to get it out a lot more often. It's a really good solo game. It would probably make my list of top 10 solo games if I were to make that again right now. Definitely a solid 8 out of 10, almost a 9 for me. But what it really did is it awoke me to this solo game of the month series, which is there's a publisher who makes these games and puts them onto GameFound, and does a GameFound campaign for one each month. And I really have become interested in that from this. Now, he crowdfunds one a month. He does not publish one a month. I'm still waiting for several, for which I've waited a few months now. So I'm hoping that they'll kind of start trickling in as well. But as a solo travel game, this one's really, it gets very high marks from me, and it made me really interested to see what else this publisher is doing. I don't think it's the same designer. I really do think this is a Korean designer. Jin Hee Han and Hee Won Kang. Those sound like they might be Korean names, but also the the Korean title lets me clues me in. But anyway, regardless of where it came from, I'm glad it's here. It's one that, if you travel with me, you might see me play just kind of by myself. Really good, really enjoyable. And I recommend you check it out if you like solo games. If you don't like solo games, obviously this isn't going to be for you. If you always travel with someone else who wants to play two-player games, probably not your best one to bring. But, if you're like me and you go on business trips, it's a great sort of way to unwind in a hotel. Easy to get out and play and easy to take with you. 9 or 8 out of 10 for me. It might even turn into a 9 if I keep playing it. So there you go. I've really enjoyed Dieson Crusoe. And that is the end of our presentation for this week. It's been fun talking about this game. I actually just barely got back from a business trip and played this game on the trip. So there you go. With that, I'm going to leave you. I'm going to wish you safe travels, courage when you need it, and I'll hope to see you back again next week for another episode of Wednesday Whimsy. Bye-bye.